Hello, everyone. This is Ash again, here with Amanda and Brittany. Um, hello.
Hello.
This is the Counseling Stars for Students by Students Oklahoma University chapter
Hey, hey.
podcast series. Got to get all of those words in there, y'all. Uh, Now, this is one of our Stellar Pathways episodes. We'll be talking about practicum prep today, and a little bit about decisions on where to apply, when to apply, and what the interviews were like, and then making a choice, choosing our fate, I'll say. Um, and so, might as well get started here. Amanda, uh,
Yes.
what do you have for us?
Well, for context, we're a couple months out from our practicum starting. Yes.
I think like exactly like the 2 months. I think August
Mm-hmm.
24th.
Yes.
So it's getting there.
So exciting stuff. We all have our practicums locked in, and so it's a
Actually, I
oh
have a feeling word about it.
what?
What's your feeling word?
I was like total excitement and anxiety about it.
Excitement
Okay.
and anxiety. Tell us more.
Yeah, we need more than that.
I have so many feelings about it because this will be, since our class is asynchronous, this will be the first time that we're with clients, like face to
Mhm.
face in the chair, so to speak. So, or I guess really, not so to speak, but really to
For
speak,
for real. Yeah.
for real. So that's it.
Awesome. Ash, how are you feeling about it?
I'm just, I think I'm in the middle. I am super excited for my placement location at a chance to change. I'm excited because I had heard about them before the interview and I really appreciated the interview that I had, which we can talk about here shortly. But right now, like everyone knows, I work for answering calls for 988, and I've gotten so used to talking on the phone to clients that I'm
Oh, sure.
maybe a little bit, you know, anxious again, kind of like you, Brittany, anxious, excited about working with people in person. And, I think I'm going to be able to work with groups and co-facilitate groups and individual and different types of things. So I'm super excited about it. Amanda, what about you?
Probably same, anxious, excited, just anticipation, not knowing what to expect, and
Mm.
kind of the like I don't know how quickly I'll start seeing clients. It sounds like I'm going to be having my practicum at Integrated Therapy Solutions and more, and it sounds like they have a really great program. They ease you into it as far as seeing clients, and they really train you and prepare you so you don't feel like you're just being thrown in. So
Yeah.
I feel confident in that regard that I'm gonna hopefully feel a little bit more confident than I do now. So
Yeah.
by the time I do have face to face with clients.
And that's
But
Yours
something
seems really structured.
yeah, it
yeah,
does
that's
seem
what I was
very
gonna
structured.
say. It's
Yes.
something that I'm maybe a little bit less aware of, as far as like what that onboarding process is going to look like for me. But during my conversation, and interview with Brandy Gibson, she kind of talked about how she wants to make sure we're getting training on everything, including documentation and things like that. And I think that's something that when I met with Dr. Wilson, she mentioned as a plus and super important to get not just the skills in the chair, but also the administrative
Mm.
uh, training as well, because we're going to be stuck with it at some point.
Yeah, my
Absolutely.
site, I'm at Pivot and also the OUHSC Child Study Center. And so I, full disclaimer, no idea how it's going to work having two sites.
Yeah.
Are they going to like all come together for like one giant amount of hours, or am I going to have to get like the same amount of hours at both sites, which is honestly impossible because that's not how the OU experience is set up. It's it's limited. It has hourly limitations, so I wouldn't be able to reach my practicum requirements solely doing that site. That's why I chose it to be supplemental. But what I was going to say, Ash, similar to what you said, during my interview process with Pivot, one of the questions I was asked is how comfortable are you handling a bunch of paperwork? Because that's what we have a bunch of intake paperwork. Our whole intake assessments are on paper. And so you're going to have to like have a case file and be able to input that into the computer and not lose the paperwork, because a lot of their funding is predicated on the data that we collect via paper. So it's not only important for, treatment planning or intervention planning and case management for the client, but also for funding.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have thought about that, but you're right. I mean, every time you go to an appointment, you have paperwork to fill out, so someone has to file and document those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. And
I
I'm
mean,
very interested as to how your dual internship
Yeah.
practicum is going to work. It kind of makes my
Oh.
brain hurt a little bit to think about.
me too.
So, I mean, more power to you. I feel like that's awesome to get, the different experience. So that would be cool. But
I don't know what I want to do. And honestly, OU has a bunch of really cool, I mean, like 17, I think it was like 17 different opportunities. And in fact, I had actually applied and interviewed for a different opportunity called the Jumpstart Clinic, which is conducting assessments for like neurodivergence, autism scale. And ba- given our current socio-political climate, they like lost funding for that. And so they no longer are able to take on an intern. They don't have the staffing resources for that. So they very kindly offered me this other opportunity that I was interested in as well. It's a selective mutism program. While I worked in Australia as a 24/7 mentor to Torres Strait Islander and Aboriginal girls, we actually had a young woman one year with selective mutism. And honestly, we did not know, we were ill equipped. We did not know how to support her. I mean, we did our best.
yeah,
You do what you can with what you know until you know better, and then you do better, right? And
yeah,
so when I saw this as an opportunity, I thought, wow, this would be so cool to actually like learn more about this and to have legitimate skill set to better
yeah,
support an array of clients. And in this young woman's case in Australia, we really just kind of just kindness and just continued to
yeah,
invite her on trips. And honestly, at the end of the school year, even just with that minimal support and just creating connection with her, like obviously not empirically supported, we didn't know what we were doing, but
yeah,
just with creating connection between like us as the staff and the other girls in the program, her parents came up to us at the end of the year and were like, you gave us our daughter back, like full blown crying.
oh,
Mm.
She's now like
that's
using
so
like
cool.
saying simple sentences at home. She's
Yeah,
playing competitive sports on the weekend. She's having sleepovers with friends. She smiles so much more, like, thank you so much for giving us our daughter back. And I was like, this is powerful. It's like I would,
yeah,
this is incredible. So when I saw that as an opportunity, I was like, man, I would really love to learn how to actually support these people and what kind of skills young people require to. I imagine it stems from an anxiety place, and so I'm curious to learn more about it.
yeah. It seems like maybe it's fair to say unconditional positive regard was very beneficial for
Mm,
Absolutely.
that, your experience there. Maybe that was
mm-hmm.
helpful, but I know nothing about that, so that's super
I don't
cool.
either.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to learn from you. That's what's cool about what we do and, the program itself, Counseling Stars, because we can, feed off of each other and talk about
Hmm.
different things and experience things. We experience more because we're experiencing other people's experiences as well, and
Mm,
like
I love that.
sharing those experiences, which is
totally.
We'll have a lot to talk about at Coffee and Countertransference. So, or is it?
yes,
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
yes,
For sure.
yes. We have 15 members of our organization less than 2 weeks after being approved. And I
Awesome.
think the fact that you have to be a member of our program and having 15 members is just wild. Like statistically, it feels like half of the people are in our student organization, which is like so cool.
That's
That's really
And
amazing.
cool.
yeah, and the coffee and counter transference, we're going to be doing it virtually as well, which I think just, a little bit of
Yes.
icing on the cake because we have people not just in Oklahoma City. I mean,
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll have the
I mean,
in-person option and the virtual option, which I think will be really great to catch as many people who would like to join.
yeah, I'll be interested to hear about other, like if someone lives in a different state, what their practicum and internship
Hmm.
experience is like, because while our school requires, which it follows like the KCREP guidelines for practicum and internship, I'm each state has different licensure requirements, and so I'm curious like what that's going to be like. However, with the like counselors compact that's getting passed in like
yeah.
40
Hmm.
plus states, like is that now redundant? Is it a moot point? Because I think starting August 2025, that's going into effect. And so there's like 40 plus states that are already have passed legislation around that. So I don't know. Does that even matter anymore? I'm not sure.
I think we're in such a pivotal time right now in mental health, and I think that, in the next year or so, we're going to really see where the compact goes and where funding
Mm-hmm.
goes and kind of what ends up happening in these different um, kind of different sectors of mental health services. So it's scary but exciting because sometimes change is good, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you never know, you never know. But right now it seems like there's a concern and valid concern. So
Yeah, definitely.
back to practicum.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
Okay.
I didn't mean to be all doom and gloom talking about
That's all right.
funding and things like that. It's just something that's part of it, right? Like, and that was even a part of my conversation with Brandy at A Chance to Change was, and at Sunbeam and different organizations that I interviewed at, I asked those questions because it's important, right? We don't want to be halfway through our practicum and run the risk of losing funding and not having the opportunity
Yep.
to complete our internship hours. Those types of things matter. And for us, the making sure that where we went and what for me, where I chose was somewhere that I felt had stable funding, multiple streams of funding, because you
Mm-hmm.
never know what's going to happen. So multiple streams of funding was something that was really important from my perspective
What
within the
about
the process.
what about values? Like how important are your like personal values in selecting your practicum sites for you both?
Amanda, what you got?
I mean, I think it was really huge. Listening to Ash, you talk about funding, that was not something that was top of mind for me the same way it probably should have been at the time. But no, looking back, I wanted to walk away and feel excited to go back to the place for one, and that's not really values more than just intuitively feeling it out and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
how I kind of vibe with the people. And what I really liked about my practicum site is um, the owner introducing me to everybody that worked in the office, which I thought was really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
just getting to interact with the people that are already working there and feeling welcomed and yeah, just that welcoming atmosphere. I don't really have much more than that, I would say, as far as values, but I think there was an alignment there that um, I could feel and just with talking with the owner. She's really big into going to a lot of the Oklahoma Counseling Association meetings too, and sitting in on those and seeing what counselors are sort of being flagged for. And she's really big on like ethics and making sure that we are learning properly. Sort of, there's so many gray areas, I think, I can only imagine, and we have not taken our ethics course yet, but I think she really is big on um, having people's backs as far as like knowing how to properly take notes and just kind of be on not be on the line with that sort of thing. And I really appreciated that, I think, too, because that is really hard to navigate, I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling good and confident about that going into a complex situation was something that
Yeah,
stuck out to me. So,
for sure. I know with me, the values match is important, but I think it was more about looking at what initiatives they have at the organization. And so, one that A Chance to Change says is A Chance to Succeed, which is their program with middle and high school students, and they have like group support to help with life-threatening like substance abuse, right? And I loved working with adolescents and teens, but I don't necessarily want to do that as my primary day to day, but to
Mm-hmm.
have that as something that I can be a part of, right? And these
Mm-hmm.
support groups that they offer for problem gambling, right? Like I'm a recovering compulsive gambler. I'm unashamed of it and it is what it is. But that was the first time I actually heard about A Chance to Change because it's at the time, according to the state website, they were um, the only counseling organization in Oklahoma City that specialized in problem gambling. And they're contracted by the state. So there's the Virtue Center in Norman, uh, A Chance to Change in Oklahoma City, and I did apply for both of them. Um, I didn't even go to the interview at Virtue Center though. I saw some news about funding situations, and it took them a little bit to get back to me. And at that point, I just knew I wanted to be at A Chance to Change, so it
Mm-hmm.
didn't make any sense for me to approach that or waste anyone else's time because everyone's time is so valuable, and that's one thing
yes.
that within the practicum and the application process. And I just think that if people are taking the time to meet with us, I want to be
Hmm.
respectful of that time. And if I had no intention of being there, then I wasn't going to do it. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that was a really roundabout way of answering the value question, Brittany. But I think the values are super important. I'm all about accessibility. I want to be on a community level, making sure that there are support group options at no cost. And like, I just think it's accessibility is so difficult. And when I'm talking to people on the phone and they're dealing with financial instability and mental health challenges, to have to tell someone you can't go there because you don't have health insurance or because you
Mm-hmm.
can't afford the copay, right? Like we're literally turning people away from something that we know can help them. So that's why I liked A Chance to Change because I feel like they do a pretty good job of providing access and things like that.
I'm sort of in the same boat as you, Ash, because pivots, they serve under-resourced adolescents, particularly young people experiencing homelessness in Oklahoma City. And so it's a lot of basic needs, helping clients reach security, or I shouldn't say reach security, but connecting. So there's a case manager, so it's not like I'm necessarily the person who's going to be connecting them to community resources. That doesn't mean I shouldn't be knowledgeable in them because
Yeah.
two heads are better than one. And so if I'm collaborating with the case manager and I know what sort of resources my client is looking for with the case manager, then we can also talk about that and talk about the experience and accessing those resources together in therapy.
Yeah.
And I also have a personal stake. I have experienced homelessness. I was living in a foreign country and overstayed my visa in another country and had to stay there and couch surf for like a month. And I know the shame cycle and the depression that I experienced during that, and not having money and not being able to eat. And that was just like a short stint, like a little bit over a month. And so I just feel like I can empathize with that situation. It's not even necessarily a systemic for me, but I think it matters. And these are oftentimes it'll be young people that are aging out of foster care, or like aging out of care from DHS. And then the state is kind of like, we're done now. Like, you're an adult now. Good luck. And it's just, man, I can't even imagine like what a hard position to
Yeah.
be in.
Yeah.
So to be a person, they have transitional homes, they have tiny homes on their campus. And so to be a person, a part of an organization that's able to help someone in such a critical moment of life feels really impactful to me and matters to me. So I guess like for
Definitely.
values wise, that's kind of where I went with it.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
great
And
match. Yeah.
the fact that
Yeah.
my site supervisor really seems like she's going to be involved in my learning process and in my growth and evolution as a counselor in training. That mattered a lot to me. I did not want to be at a site where I had heard through the grapevine from some other cohorts before us, like, yeah, they're just going to sign your paper and move on. Like, I actually want someone who's going to like
Yeah.
coach me.
Absolutely.
I want to feel that I am getting the most out of my experience, so that way someday I do want to have a private practice and I want to have as much tools and skills as possible.
More like a
Yeah.
mentorship than just a
Yes,
supervising role necessarily. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, that was one thing that I got super excited about at A Chance to Change was when they told me that they're super supportive of unique ideas and programs and like putting
Mm,
on different things.
Well,
I
that's
guess
great.
one of the interns from the previous semester like started a mindfulness group where they like led mindfulness
cool.
groups and stuff. And then like my brain automatically went to like how can we bring in this technology piece of
Uh-huh.
podcasting to mental health and like what type, like y'all know me, like my brain's just like, like whoa, let's have a support group that we are like streaming live, and we would have to get so many things signed for
That's what
confidentiality.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
I
Like,
was like, let's just host this massive support group.
there's security ways you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just like, but like, that's the way my brain works. I'm like, if they're gonna be supportive, like, why not? I think that's like something that's super cool.
It's a
Not that
huge
that's gonna
strength
be
of
what I would
yours.
do,
It's a
but
huge strength of yours, is like trying to find, let's leverage tools so we can maximize connections. I think that is a huge strength of yours.
thank you. Yeah, I think that's something I didn't do for quite a while, and now that I'm like back in school and we have the connections that we have, and I think it's so powerful. Like it's just crazy to me. Like I'm like meeting with professors that I had in my course, like that I took their course like 10 years ago, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, hey, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "How the heck do you remember someone from 10 years ago? That's crazy." But, yeah, I love what we're doing. I'm excited about Practicum. And it sounds like y'all's are one thing, Amanda, I think is um integrated therapy solutions. That's where you are going. They private?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe the funding thing's not quite as big of an issue
Mm.
there
That's
because
what
of
I wondered
that.
as well. Yeah.
But I do think they do something where like they specialize and they provide services for like LGBTQ
Yes. Yes.
plus and stuff like that. So maybe they
That's a
have
big
some
part of
types
their
of,
clientele. Yes.
yeah, and so that's, yeah, I was upset. I had applied way late. Like I know we've talked a lot about like our interviews and like the locations that we're going to, but I got so lost in what we were doing with our podcast and our student organization and my work and my personal I just didn't even think like, hey, I need to be applying to internships and practicums. And I think one of y'all was like, I decided where I'm going, and it like clicked for me. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't applied to one thing yet. So then I'm
Mhm.
like going through trying to figure all this out, but what hit me was just how available options are. And like I'm in a very blessed situation. I work 1:30 to midnight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and other than that, I'm free throughout the week to get my hours. But we do have people in our cohort who are working 8 to 5s trying to figure out
Yes.
how they're going to get their
Mhm.
hours, and
Yep.
that's a real thing to have to navigate.
So when do you think you started applying? Because I started on the early end, like I was literally applying and I was getting reached out asking if I was applying for summer. So I had like I was a little
Oh,
too early as far in which where it worked out fine still, but when do you think you started? Because I'm trying to remember what month that was.
oh my goodness.
Mine was April.
Yours was April? Okay.
Mhm.
I probably did about the same as you, Brittany, I think too, right?
Yeah, I think so. You were maybe a couple weeks ahead of me, but I visited a few different sites. I wanted to play the field a little bit to see.
Yes. Yes. I had about
Uh,
3 interviews, I think. So I kind of got to
okay.
see what was out there because Ash, I'm not as familiar with what's out there, so that was kind of important for me to kind of interview a little
Yeah.
bit.
The first week of April is when I had Integrated tell me that I could interview with them at the end of May.
Okay.
So I was that much behind you because you had already interviewed at that time and they were like a month out. So yeah, but I mean, I think it's cool that we're all at different places anyway, because
Same.
ultimately it's like
Yes.
just think of like how many different experiences we're gonna have and how many
It's
different
going to be
stories and
invaluable.
learning
Yes.
moments.
I
I
agree.
think
Mhm.
I'm excited for that, for sure. And I think that's cool with like our coffee and counter transference and our groups, group chat, or I know Brittany, you had mentioned maybe we're gonna maybe doing a Discord or some way to be able to get everyone all in
Yes.
the same area, and locked in. Maybe we use D2L, which is our online learning platform, but whatever we choose, I think it's going to be a great opportunity to learn from each other throughout this process because
Same.
we literally have a cohort full of people at different locations doing
Mhm.
this thing. So I
And
think that's
maybe we
pretty
can come
cool.
back in the middle of our practicum and have an episode where we do talk about it and reflect on it and kind of what we're learning and what our experiences and compare what our experiences have been like. I think that would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Um, with your practicum internship, you're both at the same place for both, right?
I am, yes. I
Yes.
asked if that was required, and she had said yes. Because I think they really do invest a lot of training specifically for admin, like at their site. And so I
Mhm.
think they want you to stay on since they invested all that time. So, and I'm also required to do education a certain amount of hours each week too, throughout the whole
Oh,
practicum and internship. So
Oh, wow.
they have that
interesting.
all set up. Yeah.
And you said when you say stay on, do you mean like post graduation? Like you would have a job after? Is that what you mean by stay on? Or you meant stay on for internship?
For internship. I'm sorry. That's what I thought you meant.
Okay. That is what I meant. That is what I meant. But then you said stay on, and I was like, stay on.
I mean, she did mention that they usually will offer a job at the end of it as well. So that was nice to hear.
Yeah,
That matters.
for sure.
I think
I'm like in
also,
that weird spot. I don't know if I want to leave what I'm doing. And so I really think I'm gonna end up doing like part-time work, getting supervision hours and full-time staying at my at Solari doing the 988
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Because
that's fair.
I don't know, I just can't foresee myself leaving. I don't know what it is.
Aw.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be cool to have an opportunity for a job at our locations. And I mean, I think from what I could sat from like the interviews that I went to, I think all but one of them was like, we typically, if everything, obviously, if you're meeting your
Yes.
expectations, like this can
Mhm.
turn into a career here. And I think one of them was, I won't put them on blast, but one place was like, just kind of depends. I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna spend my 700 hours somewhere else.
Yeah. I know. I was asking about like paid internships because not necessarily practicum, but when we get into internship, it's like a full-time job.
Hmm.
How it's set up currently, I do believe in the future internship is going to be split across 2 semesters. That's don't like quote me on that. I know we've talked to Dr. Wilson about it. That as it stands, like right here, right now, it is not like that for us. And when you do the math, that's like 40 hours a week, a full-time job.
It's pretty
Um,
close. Yeah.
and so to be able to, well, one, I'm also working. We've talked about that in some of our other episodes. I'm working part-time, which I think come January, once we really start our internship, I don't believe I'm going to be able to do. I think I'm going to have to focus solely on my internship. And so it will be nice to finish, 6 months later, graduate, and then have a job. So
Yeah.
that way I can like recoup a little bit after that. But
Yeah.
I just can't I can't imagine not having school or this or the way my brain works, I just feel like I'm always going to be doing something. But I feel like it would be so nice to just work 40 hours a week and just chill.
and just do that.
Yeah,
Mm,
like isn't that kind of the
there's a beauty
dream,
in
right?
that. There's a beauty in that for sure.
Like there's definitely something to be said about being able to work 40 hours and do nothing. So, I mean, obviously not just do nothing, see family,
I know what you
friends.
mean. Yeah.
You know what I meant. No
Yes.
obligations other than household responsibilities. But, well, I feel like we've pretty much covered the topic of the day, aka the practicum prep. Are there any other
Did
things we wanted
did
to talk about?
did we want to address how we had to get fingerprints and background checks
Ah,
and what that process has been like? Do we want to talk a little bit about that?
I feel like we can. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they told us that we needed to do it 4 to 6 weeks in advance, but the state of Oklahoma is really on their game right
They're
now.
on it right
I
now.
mean,
Yes.
they're like getting fingerprints back in 2 days. Obviously, don't do that. Don't not follow the directions, right? Like,
Yes.
one thing is to follow directions, but when sometimes you mess up. And getting your fingerprints done, I
And
think
your
was
background check.
way,
Yeah.
yeah, and background check. And what else? Let's see. We have a contract that we had to sign.
Contract. There's
Um,
trainings on
yeah,
online for school, our school that we have to complete,
yep.
like sexual harassment and
Child abuse and
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
email communication or something like that. That was an interest. I was
Yes.
like, that was random.
Privacy. Yeah. Yes. What
And
else do we have to do?
oh, mine had a contract from A Chance to Change as well.
Mm-hmm.
Had the contract from our university to them and them to us. I don't know.
Man, at my sites, each of them have their own requirements, and I had to do so for Pivot background check, not the one our school did. It goes through a totally different system that DHS uses, so I had to like do it again. Then I had to do a drug screen, go through like a formal onboarding process with their HR. So then that's like Pivot, and then OU is like a whole different thing. I
Yeah.
have to provide like titers, so all of my immunizations, I have to have documentation
Mm-hmm.
for that.
I was
I
gonna
have to do
say my sister had to get
mm,
shots when she went to the OU Health Sciences Center.
yep. I mean, it's extensive. The list, I'm not even gonna like list all of them. There's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
17 line items there
Wow.
that I had to check off. Um,
It's just you don't
so
think about that stuff. Like,
No, you
correct,
really
and
don't.
that's why I feel like the sooner you can start the process, for me, I get anxious. And so for me, it was better to start it early. So that way, like certain things that are out of my control, like my drug screen the other day took like an hour and a half to do. And like, this is like a tiny scratch on the surface of the requirements, right? But I'm just saying, like, you just don't know how long things are going to take. And you don't know, like, I'm not, if you're taking a medication maybe and it messed up your drug analysis and then you have to go do it again. And that's just like a made up hypothetical.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, you don't know what you don't know, and things might go wrong. And it's just nice to sometimes have a little like time cushion to where you can account for those things. Because again, with my background check at OBSI, OSBI, OBSI,
OSBI.
OSBI,
OSBI.
I had my identity stolen during COVID. And so I actually had to like go back there and provide something called a crit number, because for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to prove that I am Brittany Ward. And so like,
Such a
That's
bummer,
crazy.
man.
so
I
all
love
I'm saying
that.
is like time can really be a
Yeah.
blessing and can be helpful if you have a little bit in your back pocket.
Yeah, I had to do the drug test and the background check for a chance to change. The drug test was I don't know what they were doing that day. They were fast. I like was worried
So
I didn't have to
jealous.
go to the bathroom by the time they were
So jealous,
bringing
so
me back.
jealous.
But the background check took like 3 weeks, and I thought
Mm.
something was really off, and it came back to like an alias from Massachusetts in the
Oh my
courts,
gosh.
and just something we and I'm in my head, I'm like, I lived in Boston. Like, what did I do
Oh my
something and I
gosh.
didn't know about it? Like, and so it's like three
Yeah.
weeks, my anxiety levels were like, whew. And then finally you get through it and you're like, thank God, like we made
Yeah.
this. We did it.
Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
it was definitely helpful that we got all that stuff out of the way early, I think is what I'm getting at. I think doing everything that needs to happen when you're supposed to do it, probably a good step.
Yeah.
But all right, well, any further discussion? I feel like we've covered quite a bit about preparation for practicum today, amongst
So,
other things. Yeah? All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening in again. Seems like seems like we I'm just excited. I'm ready to publish these, right? Like we're putting them out on August 4th, at least one, and there's no telling when this is going to be played, so it makes it hard to close. But what I will say is if you haven't already, please follow us on social medias, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast, and reach out to us to join for any questions, anything you want us to talk about. We'll probably be having to send another survey at some point to our cohort, our newest cohort, to see what their interests are as well. So we get this content for students by students, and super excited. Thanks for, being here, Amanda and Brittany. We did this again, and
Woohoo!
yay.
woohoo, we did it. All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.